Yo, Top, Billin, to ya. I Top Billin. We know what's going on here, so it's always business as usual. You know how I operate, man. Until told otherwise, I will always go with business as usual as my mantra. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and proceed on. No Pac-12 football, no Big Ten football. So that could possibly leave, right, in a perfect world, a couple of big name college free agents out there. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to for sure be the thing, right? Not at all. I don't know what's going to be happening, right? It's just strictly entertainment, hypothetical type stuff. So please don't come here with your panties all too tight and your thong all turned on backwards and stuff like that, acting like you feminine men always be doing when we do these hypothetical things. It's just make believe, right? Just make believe. Just calm down. I don't want no trouble, right? So if you think about it from that standpoint, if there were like a such thing as like college free agency with these conferences dropping, man, think about a cat like my dude, right? I want my dude way before all these other copycat ass internet YouTube cats out there wanting to try to ride my wave and see my success and do what I'm doing. Way before then, man, your boy was doing the incredible Justin Fields thing when he was a spring game guy at Georgia. And before that, right, when I told you how good this kid was going to be right here in the state of Georgia, coming from the state of Georgia and presenting him to the world. So he's obviously going on and proving me right. The kid is absolutely incredible, so I call him just incredible. And even beyond him, man, a guy like Penei Sewell at Oregon. But I want to focus on Justin Fields right now. Which team do you believe Justin Fields could take to a national championship? Now, there's a couple of ways to go about this. One of them is I'm always going to think from a pragmatic approach or take a pragmatic approach because I want to see these guys be successful on the next level. Like there's nothing that'll ever trump NFL success. So making it to the league and then making it to the league and putting your best foot forward in college to make the best of yourself in the league or to be the highest draft pick or whatever like that, that's always going to be my first number one priority. So with that being said, man, I'm thinking about certain teams. Now, some people are going to come here with just some goofball type teams. I'm going to say, no, I wouldn't suggest a guy who could right now with no other college film be the number one pick in the draft, right? Or number two pick in the draft. Him or Trevor Lawrence, whichever one you like, it's all good to me. But I would not suggest him to just go to a team just to go to a team. He does not even have to play any more football. We know that the NFL would take you with one good year of college. He's already shown that. He'll be 21 years old. We've seen Kyler Murray do it off 1 year. We've seen Mitch Trubisky do it off 1 year. Cam Newton do it off 1 year. It can be done. NFL, there's a premium on great quarterbacks or potentially great quarterbacks. He's set in stone, so he does not have to do this. But if he does do it, he needs to put his best foot forward. So the first couple of teams that you would think of automatically if you want to put your best foot forward would be Alabama and LSU. No uncertain terms. If he goes to either one of those teams, those two teams to me become the odds-on favorite to win the national championship. Even with the players that were lost on LSU, the players that return, that's what I always try to tell you, focus on what's returning. The players that are returning are incredible. Lost some guys on the offensive line, but still has some guys that already played on the offensive line because of injury last year anyway. The offensive line should be fine, and it would be even better with a guy like Justin Fields with the experience that he has now navigating behind the offensive line. But thinking about the guys he has to throw the ball to, come on. Fields to Jamar Chase, Fields to Terrace Marshall, Fields to Racey McMath, Fields to an Eric Gilbert coming in. What more do you want from that? Trey Palmer and guys like that. He will be absolutely loaded. We know the defense is going to be good. Ton of talent there as well. He will put his best foot forward going to LSU. The only reason I would say not to go to LSU, right, I'm going to be good cop, bad cop. The bad cop is or would be, I don't know which cop that would be, depending on which fan base you're rooting for, right? You'll have to go right behind Joe Burrow. So everything you do is going to be matched with Joe Burrow, but you're not going to have Joe Burrow's passing game coordinator. You're not going to have some of the weapons Joe Burrow had. You just never know. Do you want to go there and be like, well, he was not as good as Joe Burrow. Maybe he's a little overrated. And you have to learn a new offense, very quickly too. So I don't know about that, right? I don't know about that one. But if he did do that one, you could best believe LSU would get off up in that ass for real. Alabama, I would think that Alabama. I'm always going to look at the offensive line first and foremost. You got to keep a guy like that clean, right? Alabama with Alex Leatherwood somehow still on campus at 37 years old, perhaps a top 10 draft pick. The kid Neal, right? The center, I mean, they are loaded. They're loaded on the offensive line, and we know about the weapons with Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle and some of the guys that they have below them that'll be rising above the ranks. They're good. The defense is going to be good. Alabama's going to be good, period. Alabama's a team that I very well could pick to win the national championship, even as presently constructed. Now, does that upset the apple cart? Mac Jones started some games last year. Then you bring in a cat like Bryce Young that everybody wants to see play. But I have to say this. I think Justin Fields is just one of those guys that you have to listen. Unless you're Clemson, you would have to listen if he wants to come to your program. But there are certain programs that I'm going to say, like, nah, I wouldn't suggest it. Like Florida. If he went to Florida, Florida to me would become the favorite. But is Florida set there? You know what? Kyle Trask and everybody already talking about Emory Jones behind him, who was in Justin Fields' class in 2018 here in Georgia as well. I think they'll be fine. But, of course, they would listen. I think everybody would listen except for Clemson, but I wouldn't suggest that. So some of those teams I'm going to exclude. But Alabama, if he went to Alabama, emoji eyes. That's all I got to say with that, right? Some of the other teams here. All right, Oklahoma. Oklahoma I like from an offensive line standpoint as well. We know Oklahoma's always loaded. You got the cats like Ely, the right tackle, and then you got Robinson on the right guard. But then you got Creed Humphrey somehow still in. I thought he would have been in the NFL right now as a first-round draft pick, the center, right? Perhaps the best center in the game. The best center in the game, right? Creed Humphrey, can't walk, I can't hump. Your boy Hump is the truth, man. So those guys have 4/5 of their line coming back. Lost the Proctor kid at the left tackle, but they should be fine there. He's got weapons too, man. Charleston Rambo. If you don't know who Charleston Rambo is, you better ask somebody. That kid is electrifying. Feels the Rambo will be nasty. They got my guy that I used to cover for a hot second at UCLA named Theo Howard. He's a good receiver at UCLA. He'll be good. Theo Weiss and Trajan Bridges in their second year on campus. You walk into that, perhaps the number one draft pick, because we've already seen that they'll take number one overall picks from Oklahoma at the quarterback position. And then we seen them put the shine on my boy Jalen Hurts. He did his thing there. It was a second-round pick when everybody said he wasn't going to get drafted and all this bullshit. When I said that the boy could play some ball, proved me right. Oklahoma I like a lot. Let me see who else. Tennessee, right? So the path of least resistance, that's what I'm talking about. Out of all these, right, I wouldn't suggest go to any other Big 12 school except Texas, but Texas does not need Justin Fields. Sam Ehlinger there for his 15th year on campus as well. They're fine at the quarterback position, right? Like I said, everybody would listen, but I don't think they would do do that to someone like Sam Ehlinger. However, in the SEC, if you're going to the SEC West, you would have to go with the best rosters. You wouldn't want to go to Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and then have to battle against Alabama and these guys, because you could put a bad foot forward or put some bad shit on film, end up having to go like not in the top 10 or may having to come back to school or something like that. So you want to put yourself in the best position possible. So there would be only those two teams on the West. But on the East, you have a myriad of teams you could go to. We'll get to that. We'll get to the elephant in the room here last, right? We'll do that last. But I think a team like Tennessee, going against teams like Florida and Georgia, you would give them a huge chance. And then your offensive line could perhaps be the best in the country. Wanye Morris, Trey Smith, Brandon Kennedy, man, perhaps your guy that you played with, right, at Georgia, Cade Mays up in the building, man, freaking come on, man. These dudes are absolutely loaded, man. 5-star after 5-star after 5-star on that offensive line. You got guys out wide as well that you could throw the ball to. Ramel Keaton, comes to mind. Josh Palmer, I think, is going to be a star. Oh, man. Velus Jones they got from USC. Come on. And then the defense is going to be good. They perhaps have the best young linebacker I've seen. We got to talk about that kid one day, man. Henry Toll. Guy's the truth. Aubrey Solomon there on the line. Tank McCullough back there. Got Alontae Taylor and Bryce Thompson at the corner spots. You don't tell me that Tennessee couldn't be a quarterback away from competing with Georgia and Florida? Tennessee's scary anyway. If they had a, for sure, elite quarterback like Justin Credible, that could take them to the next level for sure. There's no doubt about that. But, all right, the main event of the evening I'm pretty sure everyone wants to talk about will be that man returning to the University of Georgia where it all started, right back in his home state, right? He could go to Georgia. What about Georgia Tech? We don't want to talk about Georgia Tech? All right, I just want to get Georgia Tech a mention. No, you don't go to Georgia Tech. That wouldn't be good for you right there. Maybe in the future, but not right now if you want to put your best foot forward. But the University of Georgia, obviously if he went to Georgia, they would become the odds-on favorite in my opinion. Right? There's some warts on the offensive line in my opinion, but the talent is there. It's just maybe from an inexperienced standpoint. And some of these guys aren't developed like you thought they may. So saying that you have this many 5 stars or something like that, that doesn't mean anything to me because Jamari Sawyer, he's not shown himself to be that, right? We have not seen a guy like Clay Webb and guys like that. So, but we know that those guys have some talent. So the offensive line should be pretty good. The defense, the running backs, man, I didn't think I mentioned running backs on those other teams, right? I'll go back through that shit, man. You going to turn around and hand the ball to Najee Harris at Alabama, and the guys that got behind him are Trey Sanders coming through, Brian Robinson. At LSU, man, get locked and loaded with Chris Curry and John Emery, Tyrion Davis-Price. Oklahoma, man, you're going to have somehow Kennedy Brooks is still on campus. That kid is the absolute truth. You already know I love that kid. Ramondre Stevens, all these guys that they have there, Marcus Major. Who else did I mention? Tennessee, right? Eric Gray. Ooh, boy, I told you I like me some Eric Gray, the type of shiftiness he has. I was the first to compare him to Philly Flyer DeAndre Swift. I think he has that in droves. Man, I don't know what to tell you, man. I didn't mention Corvaris Crouch, too, on the defensive side of the ball for Tennessee. They have some dudes there. But as far as Georgia, of course, he'd be handing the ball back off to his guys there, right? You got Zamir White still there, James Cook still there from his class, and you got some other guys coming in. They're loaded. They're absolutely loaded. He would gain an elite receiver that he did not have there in George Pickens and some other guys that are coming in at the tight end position. It looks good. It sounds good. It looks good. But guess what? I ain't rocking with that shit. Not nothing. No, I'm sorry. I can't do it. Georgia fans spent the past 6 months telling me how Jamie Newman is Cam Newton. Are they going to win the national championship? This and that. The minute Justin Fields is available, they was like, who is JB who? Like, nah, we ain't say that, man. We want Justin Fields. I'm like, come on, man. You going to do that? That reminds me of, like, if you had, like, if you had a girl, right, you was telling her about, like, yeah, man, this is the one for me, right? She understands me, where I'm coming from, and she's able to take my warts and this and that, and we see this eye to eye and that. That's the girl for me. I think I'm going to marry her. Then they be like, oh, Samantha's single now. Yeah, but where's Samantha at? Let me get her number. That's exactly what it reminds me of, or something like that. I'm sorry. I can't rock with that. You already told me that Jamie Newman was the guy to take you to the national championship. I can't do it. Can't do it, won't do it. Then you got JT Daniels, and you almost threw him. You almost threw Jamie Newman aside, too. Now Justin Fields as well. Come on, man. You can't be that. That's like quarterback slutty or personnel slutty or something like that. But stranger things have happened, so that would be. I don't know. It would be kind of cool to see. I don't know. I buried the lead here, boy. I got my Justin Fields, Ohio State. I got the Ohio State joint on right here, the hoodie. Justin Fields representing for my boy, man, from Atlanta here. Shout outs to Justin Credible, man. Y'all know, I always knew that I was a huge fan of this kid. I had all the content on Justin Fields way before these other clowns out here on YouTube wanting to step in my lane and stuff like that. But we'll save that for another day. I'm about to start attacking people, baby. I'm going to start blitzing people. Get out my lane, homie. That's all I got to say. But what do y'all think about that? Where would y'all like to see Justin Fields go? Do not give me some goofball team try to ruin this kid's career. Most of the teams is the one that I named are probably the best ones there for him to make himself as good as he was at Ohio State and still be on the path to perhaps the number 1 overall draft pick. All right, can we get that there? Because I know you guys you guys are still gonna come in here and say some weird teams and stuff like that. NC State or something like that. Come on, man. Let's be realistic with our hypothetical views, okay? With that being said, man, I appreciate you guys as always having a little fun here. Sometimes you gotta smile to keep from crying. Hopefully we're good on that front, but business as usual, as always, until told otherwise. It's your boy Murph, the Underground King. Make sure you like, tell a friend to tell a friend, and all that jazz. And I am out. Hashtag real men watch to the end. Peace.
What more can I say?
Top Billin.